Hi, I wanted to make a video about the Dark Father energies and how they can obscure our connection with God, how we can project them onto God, and how they can be enmeshed with our connection with God, and as well the family support system structure and how it's totally out of whack, and how that can influence our creations. I'm not sure if you are aware, if you have watched any of my previous videos, but I've definitely been struggling a lot. And ever since I left my family in May, it's been kind of a complete shitstorm in my life. Because I left my family, and a couple of months ago I stopped talking, well, maybe a month and a half, I stopped talking to them. And one of the key beliefs that my mom summarized pretty well before I left was that if I leave, or when I leave, my father is not going to support me anymore. So that is a very great summary of my family support system, that if I don't cooperate and if I leave my family, then I will not be supported anymore. And I find that fascinating because that is exactly what has been manifested. You know, like what I've been creating is like complete abandonment of support. Like, it's like support has been dwindling everywhere because that is the belief. Like, that as soon as I leave, my father, who I believe to be God, I guess, does not support me anymore. So God is very intertwined with my father. I can tell from that, and that is interesting because it's like totally out of, yeah, it's like the wrong way around. Like, if everybody had their connection to God, then it doesn't matter whether you go somewhere and come back. That's different. But it's like the abandonment issues that you have with God and yourself are projected onto each other, and that's how you protect them from being felt. It's like, you are not allowed to leave, or you're not going to be supported. And then unconsciously, of course, and then God, yeah, so like I actually believe that I'm not going to be supported right now because I am evil and I left my family. And my grandmother said that to me at some point too, when I first moved to Canada, was like, you don't leave your family, you don't do that. And because my grandmother was a very strong, potent churchgoer, and she was a very strong supporter of God, the Catholic kind of God, the one that punishes and that you have to obey, and that is, yeah, and she did not embody godly qualities. She was not a kind woman. She was very traumatized and hurt a lot of beings. I got a very distorted image of what God is, and the person, creature, the being that God is not one that I actually wanted to support me, because the way I saw it was like he was an asshole. Like, he was not supportive, he was not forgiving, he was not kind, he was one that punishes, he was one that that is angry if you don't go to a church and pray every Sunday for an hour and a half or something. Like, I remember yesterday I had to go to work, and I felt so stressed that I was going to be late. It was like so much fear, and I was like, shit. And I've had that my entire life, and I don't know where that came from, but yesterday I realized that everything always happens in a timely manner, right? So it's like what you're working on is coming up and reflected back to you. And I realized that it's like my grandmother, every Sunday she would stand in front of our house door at 10:15 in the morning with a bowl of applesauce and ring the doorbell and just say very friendly, oh yeah, that's another thing about God. He has a smile on his face, but behind that he's actually pretty cunning. She brought it to our door, and she would check on whether we were ready to go to church. So we were not ready. She would start going like, oh, are you not going to church? No, and she would start getting angry with my mom. My mom believes in God, but she was not super. So that's when I started rebelling. Obviously, I started rebelling against God because I'm not that's just not, it's not, you know, like, not a great situation, not very inviting to, I don't want to be part of that. And so yeah, that's a little bit about the family support system and people not embodying godly God. I don't mean embodying godly qualities, but like actually having a connection to God and living like God. Is like people talking about Him, but not actually being like Him. You know, and I have definitely not been like Him, because I've definitely had a lot of asshole moments in this life, because I've learned that. I mean, deep inside, I knew that there was parts of me that were not, but that I was not like that. Yeah, anyway, so that's the support system. And so I guess with this awareness now, I can clear that. I can ask God to take that away. I can ask that to be lifted off me, because that's a big burden on me, that I feel like I'm not supported because I am not with my abusive family. That doesn't make any sense. So then the Dark Father is, I guess what I mean with that is that I have believed that my father is like God. Like my father was like the person that I looked up to, and he was my model, my what I have learned God is like. Nobody ever sat me down and told me this is what God is actually like, and there's a difference between your father and God. And my father never admitted to mistakes. I think I said that before. So it's almost like he presented himself to be like this perfect being, but he wasn't. But in my childlike naivety, I did not understand that any better. I believed him to be that. So that is like completely twisted around my perception of what God is like. So I need to disentangle that before I can have a clear connection with God. I need to get divorced from my dark father. And my dark father is very representative of, I feel like, the Luciferian, like, dark energy, like like greed and wanting to worship. Like, these are like old templatey things that have resulted from our fall from grace and from the distortions of not being with the true authentic God. So it's clearing the connection again, so I can actually learn about what God is really like, and learn what it feels like, and how to trust someone who actually wants to support me and who wants me to do the things that I love and live my dreams, and that I don't need to suppress them, because in my family system there was no room for my dreams. They were not supported. It was about the family unit, and they were not supported. So now that I know that my survival is not tied to being in my family unit anymore, I can ask to be shown how to heal that, or how I can just ask for that to be taken. I have to explore how that works, because this is all new territory to me, and then I can actually receive directions, because I feel like I've been lost for so long now, since it's almost like I left my family, I landed on this planet, and it's like I fell out of my home, and that to me is like the Garden of Eden. It's like I fell out of home, and I landed on this planet with no connection to God, being like a little child, and being completely disoriented, and not knowing how I'm going to be supported without God, how I'm going to survive without God, and how to live in this world by myself, and slowly working, and I've been slowly living towards my decay, right? It's like what happens at the end of your debt. Like if you have maxed out all your credit cards and your line of credit, And it's so like symbolic too of like karmic debt. Like I've accumulated a lot of debt now. Shit, what am I gonna do? You know, I have to go home and beg my parents for forgiveness and feel ashamed and do that. You know, admit that I was wrong and ask my dad for money, and then he's gonna be right. And it's like fuck. And but that to me is like a big. It's not my father, my birth father, that I have to go home to and do that. And that's related to the next video where I talk more about the fall from grace. But it's actually like God that I need to do that with, because He is my support system and He is the one who has created me. It's not my birth father. He has given birth to me, but He's not the one who's created me, and He's not the one who's responsible for my survival. So now I feel like there's a lot going on right now that needs to be reorganized. But I guess it's all coming up for a reason right now. And I am very grateful for that, because I really want to keep, make steps forward. That's what I want right now, is to only have till Friday to stay in this place, and I have a house sitting place where I can stay at, and then there's a gap in between again. But I would like to figure out how I can be of service in this world, what I can do in this world to bring my gifts and to bring, to allow God to work through me, and to, whatever that is, what brings me joy. What brings me joy? What are my dreams? Like, what is that? And my dreams are, I guess, the same as God's, because that's what will feel right inside of me. So it's not like He wants me to be a nun in a monastery and I have to say, oh shit, oh, okay, I'm going to do that. It might make me feel uncomfortable because it might trigger me, that's for sure. But yeah, that's it for now. So lifting off the false father, not tolerating the false father to stand between me and the true authentic God anymore. I disallow that from now on. How dare he be a false god and present himself like that? Doesn't work for me anymore. So I realize that the word God is triggering for a lot of people, and Christ and everything, and it's new for me again too, but I feel like there's something to it. And I feel like it's a great relief to have, and my mom always said that she feels like children need to be raised with some kind of belief in something, and that religion, or it's about bringing people together, but I guess it's also it's first and foremostly about bringing people having a relationship with God, and people being part of a group where they feel supported as well. First you feel supported by God, but God is physically present on this planet through other people. However, like, the connection to God is the one that will shape the support system around us. So it's like a reflection. So that is important to put first, right? It's like everything that we think about God and everything is like, not everything. Yeah. So these are my thoughts for right now. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say right now. Until I stop this video and then I think, oh shit, I forgot to say that. Well, I accept that will be always the case. Okay. Blessings to you all. Auf Wiedersehen.